Hey everyone, welcome back to Lawyers, Mediators International Show and Podcast. This is where we talk about the law and conflict resolution topics to educate both professionals and everyday people. I am Mac Pierre-Louis, your host, and I am back with a new topic, a new episode. And this one, we're going to talk a little bit about mediation in Mexico and Guadalajara, Mexico, and some of the experiences that our guest has had in the world of conflict resolution. His name is Ernesto Rea Cano. And Ernesto, how are you doing today?
Fine, Mike. Fine, very fine. And thanks for the invitation to your program.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And so you and I got a chance to meet a couple months ago in Guadalajara, Mexico, in Jalisco, where I was attending the Foro Internacional de Mediadores Profesionales. That's the International Forum of Professional Mediators. It's a Spanish speaking group, basically with mediators around the world who speak Spanish. And
Yeah.
in this program, I don't speak Spanish, as you know, but in this program, I was connected with you through Alberto Elisvetsky, who told me, hey, go to Ernesto. He speaks English, and he will be your guide when you get to Guadalajara. So ever since that first evening that I met you and your family, thank you so much for hosting me. I just
Uh,
wanted to have you come on this show to talk a little bit about what you do and to talk, I guess, to introduce people to something that many people around the world may not be familiar with, and that is mediation and conflict resolution in Mexico. And just to have you share what you do and how you do it, and how it's maybe a little different from what we're used to in the USA, where I'm based. So, again, thank you so much for your hospitality. And I guess let's just get started. So, first, what drew you to this work? Why do you do mediation? Why do you have a passion for this kind of work?
well, um, well, my first answer is because I like it. Now I can say I like the mediation. I believe in the mediation. Like a person, like a human, I want to have or I want to live in a world of peace
Yep.
and one kind of work where everybody can to speak without fight or without have a lot of discussions. I want a world where we can to understand between us and
Hmm.
everything I discovered from the mediation. I have almost around 13 or 14 years in mediation, and I have discovered a lot of
Yes.
things to contribute to that idea I have about the work. And that's why, I mean, in all that years, I have discovered stuff and tools and actions, friends, and a lot of people who are looking for the same thing. And well, just now I'm here, and that's it. That's the way because
Yeah.
I have a better world. No?
So tell me, who do you typically help when you try to help people resolve conflicts? What day to day, what do you actually do and who are you helping?
Well, we have a lot of different conflicts. We have a families conflict, penalty conflict, and civil conflict. So it's different each day. Well, I think we or I or we have Mexican. We have a conflict society because we don't know how to talk. We don't know how to abort. Is correct to say abort that conflict?
Mm.
But is a uniform difference of conflicts. So we can talk about only one conflict. So in my office, we see about civil, mercantil, like economic,
Mercantile.
something like that.
Yep. Trade.
Okay,
Yes.
civil, familiar, and penalty.
So you resolve conflicts in all the different areas of law,
Yes,
basically.
different areas. Yes, it's not the same thing always. Well,
Understand.
we have I have another friends who are mediators too, and some ones they are dedicated only to one area. But in my
Yes.
office, we try to to see, to know different areas.
Understand. And so Alberto Elizabetsky was the one who introduced me to you. And so he's been on this podcast episode multiple times. And so he's a very big name, as you know, in Latin America when it comes to technology and mediation and online mediation. So how do you know Alberto, and what's the connection?
Well, some years ago, I was talking with another friend, the Dr. Javier Ales from Spain, and Dr. Ales and Dr. Alberto are very close. They are a team, they're friends. And one day I was talking with Javier Ales, and he said, "Hey, I will introduce you." He knows a lot about the mediation, and that's it. I mean, one day I called him, and we start to do a lot of things. They came to Guadalajara too. We have a big event about mediation, and we are here doing different and new things, and we have a plans for next month and next years.
Yes, yes. I want to hear all about it. So I'm going to share my screen. And so this is to now talk about FIMEP. For people who don't know what FIMEP is, and I'd like for you to talk a little bit about it because you helped set this up. It was a pretty big deal. In episode 359, I was in Guadalajara and I wrote, when I finished it, my impressions. I met a lot of friends, met a lot of people there, lots of speakers, lots of authors, lots of contributors who basically were just spending a lot of time educating each other about best practices and how do we make sure that we promote the field of conflict resolution. So, can you talk a little bit about FEMEP and why it's important to you and your contribution to it? What is it, first off?
Well, what FIMEP is? FIMEP is a forum that we have each 2 years. Um, and that's it about mediation, about our experience, about our new knowledge, experience from each countries. And I think we need to have that kind of meetings about what is happening with the mediation in the world. That's why it's important. FIMEP. FIMEP is event, the most biggest event about mediation in the world. But it's not for learn. It's for change or experience. It's not for it's not a course or it's not a big congress. No, it's a forum. We need to hear in between us about the mediation, and that's why important for me. And when the
Hmm.
president, the principal of the FIMEP is the Dr. Javier Ales from Spain, I told you, and
Yes.
he invited me to coordinate FIMEP these years, and I said yes, because why? Because in Guadalajara, Jalisco, we are a lot of mediations. I mean, the mediation for us is new too. We have around uh, 15 years with mediation, and we are learning still. We need to learn about mediator from other countries. And
Yes.
when the Dr. Javier Ales asked me if I could to coordinate that event in Guadalajara, I said yes, because first, because it's very important to know who is in what country about the mediation, what is happening with another country with the mediation. But uh, that's why I'm here in FIMEP.
Yes. How many countries were participating in FEMEP?
Well, in this edition, I think this year was, I think, around 12 countries. Yes, I mean
Yes.
Brazil. I'm from the United States. I think I was Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Uruguay, Paraguay, Puerto Rico, Cuba, one from Cuba, but I think two or three more countries were here.
Yes. Well, so speak more specifically about your own region. And so when I was there, I learned for the first time about IHA. And it was interesting. This website, of course, is an English version, but if people go to ija.gov.mx, they can learn more about it. But can you tell us a little bit about this?
CAIJA is a like an institution from the government who has that responsibility to give that opportunity to the society to learn about mediation and about another alternative methods for law for resolved conflicts. And
Mhm.
IJA is a big organization. They have courses, they have diplomados, they have certificate. If you want to be a mediator here in Jalisco, in Mexico, you can go there and learn, study more about mediation. You can get the certification from them. You know, it's free. It's from the government.
Gotcha. So that's local in Jalisco,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, it's local, but
Okay.
we
Well,
have a
then,
new law, national law about the alternative method for resolve uh, conflicts, and that new law
yes.
permit that if you get your certification like a mediator in Jalisco by IJA, you are a mediator in all Mexico.
Okay. Well, tell us about Mexico broadly, and tell us about there's a phrase "cultura del acuerdo." Okay, so talk to us about mediation in Mexico. How is it? And I know I'm only comparing it to what I know in the USA, but what from what you know, how would you describe it?
Difficult, I mean hard, because the Mexican society doesn't have um, dialogue. How do you say when you talk
Mhm,
um, around peace? We like to fight. You know, we like we think. Well, not me, but the society Mexican think that the only way to fix or the conflict is fighting.
mhm,
You know,
mhm,
we like to fight for everything, and when we try to change the mind of the people in Mexico, when you told them, "Hey, we need to talk different, we need to have empathy with the other person," that the people say you can't fix the conflict with just with talk or just with the mediation. That's why it's hard, but. We have a different idea of conflict. We think the conflict is something bad, is something hard, is something heavy, and when that's why the people when have a conflict or try to fix that, they don't want to fix it. We don't want conflict, and if we have a conflict, we want to fight for fix it, and that's why we need to change. That's why we participate in Congress. That's why we are in the street. We are in the neighborhood. We are in the call union, law union, or another different unit for professional people. We talking about the not properly of mediation. Uh, we are talking about dialogues, how to say language or
yep,
form to talk with a person. We need to change the main. That's to say, no.
gotcha. Well, how would you compare it to the USA, if in any way? For example, what might U.S. mediators learn from how Mexico is doing it, or vice versa?
We, our cultures are different, or history are different, or problems or the problem for each country are different. That's why the vision and the
Yep.
culture from the people are different, and that affect our fields. And when you have some kind of problem or conflict, your reaction different to that
Yes.
conflict. So if we talk about countries, your country is different. Your economy, your culture, your history. Do you have more advance about the language to talk? Do you have another problem, social different problems about Mexico? So when we have a conflict, well, we are different. But
Yes.
that's why we need to have meeting like FIMEP. That's why FIMEP is important,
Yeah.
because maybe my peer have experience that I don't have, is that kind of the same experience, because I'm in Mexico. I'm working with people in Mexico with some kind of a culture, and
Yep.
if we talk about that our experience, we can have conclusion about what we need to do from here to another 1 year, or I don't know, we need to talk about their experience, because we are different.
Correct. Well, one thing that surprised me when I was there, all the different speakers from different countries in Latin America, you're correct. There's lots of differences, and it's good for the people to hear each other so that we can see how other countries do it. And we might learn something, right? We might benefit. But one thing that I discovered is universally, we all are people, and no matter where you live, no matter the country, whatever the conflict might be, human beings tend to react in many ways the same way. We want empathy. We want to be heard. There's lots of lessons from mediation training that I took in Texas that will also apply to the parties who are having conflicts in Ecuador, for example. So there's a universality to it where human beings are human and they are going to have they need the same thing to try to resolve their conflict. But at the same time, they do things differently, and there's a benefit to things like FEMEP to where we can learn from one another. And so, what's going to happen next? I understand FEMEP's going to be going to another country in
Yeah.
2028, right? Can you tell us
Yes,
about
in
that?
Spain. In
Yes.
Spain, we will be together. I hope see you and meeting with you in Spain in 2 years. In Spain, I'm not sure the city. We are waiting
Yeah.
for the city, the name of the city, but we'll be in Spain. And we have 2 years for following working in our countries to learn to work with that we learned in FIMEP in these years. And in
Yep.
FIMEP in 2028, we will talk about our new experience, new knowledge. And well, we need to follow, contributing to have a best work. That's it. This is
Yes.
easy.
Well, no, it'll
Yeah.
be great to see you again. And thank you so much for coming on today to talk,
Oh, thank you.
especially in English. I appreciate that. I know Spanish is your first language and it's
Yes.
your mother tongue. But for many people who decide to speak in English, it's always a appreciation, especially for
Oh,
my audience. And so before we close out, I'll share my screen again, your Facebook. And
okay.
so
Yeah.
this is the Facebook page. You're pretty
Yes.
big on Facebook, thousands of followers. And so people can check you out. Is that probably the best place they can reach you or find out
Yeah.
what's going on?
No, no, that's my Facebook. You can meet it with me. Yes, or email
Yes.
too. But is if you check my Facebook space, you can see what I'm doing about my work and
Correct.
the mediation. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'll definitely put the Facebook link on the blog post that we're going to write about this episode today. And so let's close out. To close out, what do you want people, to know about why this is so important to you? And then what do you want people to remember from this conversation today?
Well, it's important because it's opportunity to um, how to learn how to fix your problems or your conflict, but another way, a way of peace, a way of a different kind of language, one way of uh, don't hard. I mean, don't be hard for you in your life, because
Hmm.
we need to enjoy our life, and the life is a little
You're
short
short.
of
Yeah.
time, so we need to do everything we have to do for enjoy that a little time, and the mediation is the good way for to get that. And
Yes.
well, tell me, repeat. And the other things was
Yes. Yes. And the other thing is, what would you want someone to remember from this talk today?
well, don't forget you have options, you have alternatives for have another way to fix your problems, your conflict.
Mm.
To that's
Yes.
kind
That's
of thing.
perfect. No, that's it.
Yeah,
And
okay,
that's universal. That's why we call it alternative conflict resolution, right? People do not
thanks.
have just one way. They can have options. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ernesto Rea Cano,
Oh,
for coming on the podcast.
thanks
Yeah, go
to
ahead.
you, Mac. Thanks for the invitation. Sorry for my English, but
Oh no.
I was a little nervous about that because, sometimes we talk English, but just for ask for a hamburger or for a
Exactly.
coffee, no, but not for items or mediation. But well, I'm your
Yes.
friend. I'm friend of
Well,
everybody. Don't
well,
forget, I
what's
need.
important, what's always important to me is to let other people know what's going on, what's happening. This is one reason I travel so much and why I enjoy going to these other places.
Yes,
It's to get exposure and to get experience from what other people are doing. And so I would want, my guests and my audience and other people who I know to also know you. And the way to do that is to get on this show and let people connect. And so
well,
I appreciate you for coming on and
thank
speaking
you.
in a language that you don't normally speak fluently. And trust me, your English is much better than my Spanish. So don't be
Well,
embarrassed or nervous.
well, thank you, Mac. Have a nice day.
Awesome. All right, sir. Thank you so much. We'll
Bye.
talk to you later. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye.